Well, welcome to the Kristi Jones Show, where it's all about living your life to the fullest. I'm a life coach, speaker, and business owner in multifamily real estate, and I've had wild success in multifamily housing for over 25 years now. I am so passionate about helping others merge their success and lead a fulfilling life, and I bring it all together right here on this podcast. So join me and let's get started to live your life to the fullest. Welcome back to another week here on the Kristi Jones Show. So glad we're hanging out again today. And I am continuing to build on the conversation that we started last week. So you're successful, you're driven, or you wouldn't be listening to this podcast and showing up week after week. But there's still this question, this almost like still quiet voice coming from the inside that says, is this it? Is this all there is? So today we are talking about how to actually feel fulfilled, not years from now, not in a long off distant concept, not once you've earned another promotion or once you've checked another box on your to-do list or check another box in your life of things that you're wanting to accomplish, but starting right here where you are right now in this present space. So I'm breaking down 4 key areas that impact your fulfillment, how you feel about your life, and how investing in them is not only going to make your life better, it makes you more powerful in the work that you do at your career. So let's get into it. Last week, I had focused more on what success really means. We dove into that conversation. And then I started talking about the second point was the fulfillment factor. And so we dove into those 2 items, but what I saved for today's episode is where to find the fulfillment, even when you are in that demanding career, even when your work life is demanding so much of you. How do we find that fulfillment? Where do we bring that into our life? Last week I had talked about how when you take care of that fulfillment side, how it makes you that much more powerful and clear when you are at work, when you are doing the thing. It actually aids in your success. It actually fuels the success. And I talked about that last week. What I want to go more into this week are some tips on, I've got 4 things to share with you today on how you can create more fulfillment in your life. So this is really a heart episode, and I really want to give you some things that will spark action, not just things to think about, but actually taking action and keep that energy moving forward. So the first thing let's talk about when it comes to fulfillment is personal passions. I know you have them. We all have those things that are like just have always been a personal interest of ours. Or sometimes we grow into new things and we're like, I've never thought of that before, but this is something that really is of interest to me. So give yourself permission to play again. Give yourself permission to just let your hair down, have some fun, and explore what some personal interest and some personal passions are. What lights you up outside of work? I know that checking the boxes and going through that to-do list and that you have so many goals and ambitions for your life and for your work, but I want you to step out of that for a moment and think about what lights you up outside of work. Maybe you're like, look, work doesn't light me up. It drains me. But there's a part of the work that you're doing that drives you. But we need to look at the things outside of the office, the things outside of maybe the business that you're building that lights you up. Don't worry about, is it productive? Don't be asking yourself that question. It's what fills my soul. What fills my soul? What feels good? I mean, newsflash, it's okay to feel good, okay? It's okay to have something that really is not even you're like, I don't even think this is giving any productivity at all, but you like it just because you like it. You like it just because it feels good. That is okay. Give yourself permission to explore that. Maybe it is. I have a friend that she has leaned into an artistic interest that she's had of painting. She's like, I've never painted before, but I just really enjoy this. She's actually really good at it. Maybe it's painting, maybe it's writing. For me, it started out writing. And this is like back in around 2016, I think, 2017, I started writing. I started a random blog. Had no idea where that was going to take me, but for me, it was writing. I just really enjoyed writing. I've always enjoyed creative writing. I've always enjoyed that. Maybe it's cooking, dancing, music, hiking, something outdoors. I have a girlfriend that she likes to go fishing. Like, I have zero interest in going fishing. Seriously, like, I'm buying my fish. I always tell her, I'm just going to the store or the seafood market to get my fish. I don't want to fish. Like, it's just zero pleasure factor for me. But for her, that's how we're all so different. She just thinks that's the coolest thing ever to go out and be able to spend a day fishing. So that's I mean, I'm so glad she's discovered that for herself. So I've encouraged her, make sure you weave in time for yourself that you get to do that here and there. I think she does it probably maybe only like once every other month or something, but she was doing it not at all before. So she's going in the right direction on that. Maybe it's planning trips. Hello, that's my love language. Plan a trip. Not only just plan the trip, but take the trip. But I love planning and looking at places to go and explore where I've never been. So maybe it's doing some research and it's planning your next trip. Even if you're not sure when you can do that, you've got to start planting the seed of where do you want to go? What do you want to experience? And don't dream small here, my friend. It doesn't, whatever your interest is or your passion, it doesn't need to earn you money. It doesn't have to be seen as useful. Things that are fulfilling to you, it is okay that it's something that just feels good. And I think we get so wired. I know that was a tough one for me to really kind of relax into, but we just get so wired that everything needs to be purposeful and it needs to accomplish something. It needs to be aligned with my bigger goals. And guess what? It doesn't. You can do something just for the sake of doing it, just for the sake of doing it. I mean, I know we wouldn't call this a personal passion, but your girl loves her bath time. Okay. I mean, and we go way back to when I was busy, kids in the house, all the things. I was just like, even if it was on like a Sunday afternoon, if I could find 20 minutes, I was like, I am off limits. I'm locking myself. Every mom has had the daydream of locking herself in the bathroom. Seriously. If you're a mom and you've never daydreamed about locking yourself in the bathroom where nobody can get you, then I don't know. Or maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm odd woman out on this one. But who hasn't had that day when you're like, oh my gosh, like, can we just change the locks? Like, I just want silence. I want quiet. So, doesn't mean you don't love your family. It doesn't mean you don't love your kids. You love them so much that you give them so much. That's why you've got to like have these moments that you can give yourself. So, personal passion, I digress. Yes, it can be even taking a bath and having a whole ritual there, which is something that I definitely love. But the thing is that it doesn't have to earn you money. It doesn't have to be deemed as productive. The key thing is that you have to enjoy it and it has to be something that lights you up. When you reconnect with these passions of yours, you're reminded that you're more than your title. It is so freaking easy to get attached to our identity of what we do professionally. I speak from example on that. I think I did a whole episode on the podcast one time where I talked about And it wasn't anything that was really visible from the outside. It's just I was very attached to the my I say title, but it was really the work that I was doing and how far I had come. And I was just like, all the awards, I think I had shared in that episode that like all the shiny awards, I went and it was like a whole, it was just like a therapeutic thing for me is I dumped them all in the dumpster. Like put them all in a box from my office and I just went and put them in the dumpster. Now I did confess on that episode too that there's one that I would really like to have back because it was so pretty and shiny and it was just like the most gorgeous trophy thing ever that was on my shelf and it was just beautiful and I would love to have that one back, but I digress. It's in the dumpster somewhere. It's in a landfill somewhere. But I did that because I needed to send the message to myself. It was really at a critical time, just in my own personal development, my own personal growth, and just my own self-concept. And a lot of it had come from, climbing out of a survival mode mentality and then achieving and getting to a place where it was like, damn, I've done it. I'm here. Like, whoa, the things that I dreamt about that I pursued. I mean, it's here. It happened. So part of that was me, like a physical thing that I was doing to dump that identity, that I'm not attached to that I am much more than the trophies and the things that I had earned, the accolades and all the things. So in the dumpster they went. It was just my way of reminding myself, or really just a light bulb moment for myself, that I am way more than my title. And it really kind of sparked an inward journey for myself to delve further into like who I am, what I am. We are so much more powerful than we give ourselves credit for, that our brain can even, seem to comprehend at times. So a passion, a personal passion, and delving into those, it's going to bring you joy. It's going to increase your energy. And it's going to give you, more importantly, I think this was so big for me too, it's going to give you an identity outside of your work, beyond your career. So very important. So, your joy, the takeaway from this first point that I want you to like latch onto is that your joy isn't a luxury. It is not a luxury. Your joy is a leadership advantage. It actually causes you to be a better leader, to be a better business owner. In whatever way you're leading in your life and in your career, whatever that looks like for you, when joy isn't looked at as just a luxury and it's something that you need to incorporate to bring into that fulfillment factor of your life, it is going to be an advantage that you have when it comes to how effective you are as a leader. All right, second thing, let's touch on this one a little bit. Relationships, prioritizing people, and not just your performance. This ties into fulfillment so, so big. Fulfillment often lives in the quality of our relationships, and not fulfillment often does not live in the quantity, the number of your wins. So prioritize people in your life. If you're always putting off the date night, always finding an excuse of why you're too busy to carve out some time for either a day date or a date night, either one. Putting off those catch-ups with friends, grabbing coffee with a girlfriend, or even just a phone call, getting on the phone and chatting it up with somebody. And you're like, you keep like pushing those away and finding all the reasons why you don't have time to do that because your work schedule's too full and you've got too much going on. And, you know, something you need to really evaluate. I really encourage you to evaluate how you look at that. Make deposits in relationships that refill you, not necessarily in the ones that just suck the life right out of you. You know exactly what I'm talking about because we all have those on the perimeter of our lives. I call them energy suckers. So make sure that you're putting your energy, you're depositing your time into relationships that refill you. Relationships are not a one-way street. There are times, and it's never a 50-50 thing. So, like, don't get too hung up on that. But there has to be a give and take. It can't always be you depositing, depositing, depositing. And it can't always be the other way around where you're just taking, 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 and the friend or the other person on the other side is the one giving, giving, giving. So there's got to be some give and take, you know? You have to be the one to reach out from time to time. Don't make it that your friend's responsibility to always initiate those things. So make deposits with people that refill you. Another way to say it is, I want you to pay attention to the people in your world that see you, that see you, that see you for who you are right now, that see the potential in you, that aren't necessarily holding you back to who you were a month ago, 6 months ago, 5 years ago. The people that are always wanting to pull you back to the past version of you, be very, very cautious. Be very cautious of those relationships. We need to always be willing, and for ourselves too, to meet people as they are today and try to let go of the prejudgments we have from what they were. I guess another way to say it is give people the opportunity, because you would want them to give this to you. Give them the opportunity to be who they are, who they can be today, not necessarily who they were a week ago, a year ago, 5 years ago. Don't put them in a box. So put time and energy into the relationships of the people that see you, also the people that challenge you, like iron sharpens iron. You do not need or want to be the sharpest person in the room all the time. You want people that cause you to like challenge yourself to whether, and I'm not just talking in career, I'm talking just like as a person, maybe as a wife or as a friend. So look for those individuals that challenge you. And also the relationships. Put time into the relationships that lift you up. Again, not just the energy suckers in the room, not just the person that every time you get on the phone with them, they complain and they complain and they complain and they complain. And then you are calling to just kind of, I don't know, catch up, talk about some good things going on in your life, but you get off the call and you're like, oh my gosh, my energy. If now we all have bad days, so I'm not saying don't judge like the isolated incident, but if every time you leave an interaction with someone and you feel your energy feels like a lower vibration, you feel like the life just been sucked out of you every single time you're in their presence or you're having conversations with them, you need to evaluate that. You need to evaluate that. That is not going to help you feel fulfilled. It's not bringing you joy. It's just an energy sucker. So you can have all the success in the world, but if you have no one to share it with, my friend, I mean, really, what's the point? When you have success and you have the wins and all the things that are just going along so great, you want to share those with the people that you care about. And so take time to invest in the relationships along the way. Third point, growth outside of work, it feeds your mind and your spirit. So growth outside of work. I know that you're super focused about growing yourself in your career and hitting your goals and all the things, but I want to encourage you when we talk about this, where to find fulfillment, how to level that up in your world. I want you to look at growth for yourself outside of work. So, feeding your mind and feeding your spirit. Success isn't just hitting those bigger goals, okay? It's expanding who you are as a human. Think about the evolvement of you as a woman, as a person. Think about what you can evolve into, expanding who you are. And that involves feeding your mind and feeding your spirit. And that it can include things like reading books, listening to podcasts, going to workshops, getting a coach, working with a coach, journaling. I talk about that so much. Explore your faith. Explore your faith. Be more curious about that. Do things that grow you. Do things that grow you. When I was going through one of these really pivotal times and focusing on the fulfillment factor, I had leaned into breath work and different types of yoga, and sound bowl healing, which is just, I had no idea when I went, my first class that I went to, I had no idea that's what I was going to. I thought I was going to a yoga class anyways. I walked out just like in almost an altered state, like, whoa, what? I just feel so different. My nervous system just, it was just like a full reset to my nervous system. So it happened. I didn't even know it was happening. I just felt different. But that started a journey for me of wanting to know more about it. And I just fell in love with all things that had to do with breath work and yoga and sound bowl healing and the nervous system and learning more about the vagus nerve. That was an area that I delved into, and it really is still to this day such a, I find it so fulfilling when I either do those things or learn more about those things. And so I really have enjoyed the mind body connection that those practices have given me. And I have found it really fulfilling. So look at the kind of growth that maybe makes you more creative. When you do things to grow your mind and to grow your spirit, you become more resilient. And you also can become, it allows you to be more strategic at your work. So there are, when you do these things that are bringing you more fulfillment, but you're doing things to expand your mind, to expand your spirit, to expand your spirituality, your faith, when you do those things, you're actually pouring into yourself to cause you to be a better leader, to be better at the work that you do, to be think more strategically, to build more mental resilience. So there's like so many there's so many wins that you get from doing growth and focusing on growth that technically is outside of your work, but it affects your work. It pours back into it makes you better at what you do. So work isn't, keep in mind that work isn't who you become. It is not who you become. And it is not where you become your best self. It's where your best self gets to show up. So by doing these things that expand your mind, that expand your spirituality, it allows you to then bring your best self back into the work that you do. Fourth thing that I want to share with you today is energy alignment. What needs to go? What needs to go, my friend? You need to be asking yourself this question. Fulfillment isn't just about adding things. So when I started this conversation, I talked about thinking about things that were personal passions, things that bring you joy, that light you up. But I want to close with guiding you to think about what needs to hit the road. What needs to go? So fulfillment isn't just about adding, it's sometimes about removing certain things in your routine, in your day, in your life, in your thoughts. So here's the question. Ask yourself, what is draining me? What's no longer aligned with the life that I'm building? What's no longer aligned with the life that I desire to have? What's draining me? 9 times out of 10, when you ask yourself, when you just get quiet and you ask yourself that question, there is going to be at least one or two things that immediately come to mind because your inner self, it already knows. You're just resisting it for some reason. There's a host of reasons of why you could be resisting it, but you already know. You already know. It's just you haven't wanted to maybe take action on that. So I really, really encourage you, ask yourself, what is draining me? What is no longer aligned with the life that I'm wanting to build? That is going to give you some very clear answers on what needs to go. What do you need to, we've got to streamline. We have to streamline our lives. And the most successful and fulfilled individuals they know what stays, they know what goes, and they don't waste a whole lot of time on the things that aren't moving them in the direction of success and fulfillment and all the things, building the life that they want to live and experience. So maybe it's a commitment that you had made that now you need to reevaluate that. Maybe it's a habit that you do on a daily basis that's sucking up a good hour of your day that you're not even sure why you're doing this. It's just you've gotten into this routine and it's just a waste of time. It doesn't make you feel good. Or maybe it's a mindset. Maybe it's a mindset, a way that you're looking at something, perspective. We have to be open to shifting our perspective. It's not what happens in our lives. The circumstances are what they are. And it is our thoughts about the circumstances. It's our perspective. When we are able to challenge ourselves on our perspective on something that's causing like strife or is something that we feel like we need to let go of, but we feel like we can't, and all the things, all the mental chatter that's going on. So when you can shift your perspective, that is when mountains will move and you will feel entirely different. So clearing space. Just think of it this way. I need to clear some space in my life. I need to clear some mental space. That is so powerful. Make room for what fills you up. Do not let your schedule be so full that your soul feels so empty. Remember, this is about the fulfillment factor. And so much of that is how you feel, what feels fulfilling, what feeds your soul. So it doesn't matter how crammed your schedule is. How do you feel? How does your soul feel? So these are 4 things that you can do and implement and be thinking about, and more importantly, taking action on right now that's going to boost that fulfillment factor of your life. So I would love if one of these has really resonated with you, I would love to know which one really hit the mark with you. My email address is down below in the show notes. It's Kristi at, and that's Kristi. That's how I spell my name. Sometimes people spell it with a C or a Y, but Kristi at kristijones.org. I would love to know. I would so love to know which one of these really hit home with you and that you feel like you can take action on to really increase that fulfillment factor in your life. So I want to take just a couple minutes. I meant to say this early on when I first started recording, but I just get so excited about the podcast episodes that sometimes I forget and I'm like, oh, I forgot to say this earlier. But I want to invite you to the Flourishing Edge Inner Circle. Um, and I want to invite you, the link is down below, to take a look at that membership and the group coaching. The things that I'm talking about in like last week, the week before, today, these are the things that high achievers, that top performers, these are the things that we delve into to build that toolkit of your life. And we're starting a brand new session, January 2026. So all the details are in the show notes below. So I want to ask you to just kind of take some time today, 5 minutes, and ask yourself, get really, really honest with yourself and reflect what are you chasing? What is it that you're chasing in your life? And whatever that is it making you feel full? Is it making you feel fulfilled? What do you need more of? What do you need more of? And ask yourself, this is always the hard one, what is it time to let go of? What is it time to say goodbye to put to rest? What is it time to let go of? So if you're ready to start building a life that's not just successful on the outside, but deeply fulfilling, I'd love for you to join me inside the Flourishing Edge Inner Circle. That is where we make those shifts happen. And you don't have to do it alone. This is about a community coming together to support one another, to level up, to expand, to grow, so we can become the biggest, baddest version of ourselves. So I invite you, just go find the link down below, show notes, I'll give you all the information. All right, my friend, I am so excited that you have an opportunity to boost that fulfillment factor of your life. And I really encourage you to take action on that today. Until next week, have a fabulous week. I will see you here on the podcast, same time, same place. Take care. I want to thank you for tuning in today to the podcast, and I hope you've enjoyed the conversation and all the info that's been shared today. And I hope you've come away with a few ideas on how to make the most out of it for your life. If you loved this episode, be sure to share it with your friends and family. And also make sure you subscribe to the podcast and tap that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Also, it would mean the absolute world to me if you would leave a podcast review. So until next time, my friend, keep flourishing and thriving and live your life to the